astrological forecast for 2026 for individuals of the Sagittarius zodiac sign. Throughout this year, you will notice and feel that some cause that previously prevented you from fully expressing your will, making independent decisions, and taking bold steps has been removed. This year, the axis of karmic lunar nodes will change its position. This changes the vector of our movement and alters the fundamental tasks for each of us. For your sign, this will manifest as a sense of greater freedom and freedom of choice. Moreover, during 2026, in the third house of your horoscope, which symbolizes our tools for transforming our reality, both Pluto and the northern karmic lunar node will simultaneously reside in this sector of your horoscope. This shows how a single step, one decision, one idea, or one situation can become the cause or source of an entire chain of transformational events. All of this will occur in a positive, optimistic sense of the word. In 2026, many influential planets will take positions in fire signs, namely Aries and Leo. Fire is your element, so you will feel that the world becomes bright and radiant again. This will give you a sense of awakening, a feeling that you are once again in a fiery, fast, bright, and understandable space. You will feel as though you have finally emerged from some viscous and gloomy corridor of a labyrinth into a world familiar and natural to you. For convenience, let us divide our forecast for 2026 according to life areas, directions, and then by periods, by months. Let us begin with self-development. This is an important theme for your zodiac sign both in 2026 and 2027, because in the third house of your horoscope, which represents the tools we have to influence reality, the transformational Pluto will reside alongside the northern karmic lunar node, the node of the future. What does this tell us? It indicates changes, whether sudden or gradual, in habitual thoughts, familiar roads, circles of communication, and interests. It signifies the formation of a new mechanism of logical thinking, indicating that roads, directions, and paths you travel will change, both in the literal and figurative sense. You may be surprised by an unexpected realization or discovery. I can actually do this. Why didn't I think of this before? Or why did I consider it impossible for me? This year, your interests will change, which will logically lead to changes in your social circle. You will feel a greater sense of freedom and lightness. In the sector where Pluto is located, you can expect one or several radical events or decisions. These events or decisions will become sources of further transformation, and all of this will occur in a positive sense of the word. In the third house, the house representing our informational interaction with the world, this event may manifest as a decision, an idea, an opportunity, or a new acquaintance. It could even involve someone entering your field of vision who will profoundly influence your thoughts and help you believe in yourself and your dreams. It is important throughout this year not to live by habit, but to ask yourself before taking any action. Am I doing this because it is truly necessary, or just because I am used to doing it? During this year, many plots will begin that may not yet produce concrete results, as they will not mature into something tangible until later. In 2026, it is crucial for your sign to engage in new projects, stories, and the realization of new tasks, which will produce concrete results in 2027. Regarding Pluto and the northern karmic lunar node in the third house, your social circle may change, and your interests may evolve. Some of you will attend courses that provide knowledge or skills that will become useful. This is a period in which you will change much of what is familiar, replacing stability with new and interesting experiences. Such a configuration often indicates acquiring a vehicle or exchanging an old vehicle for a new one. In other words, there will be changes in your routes and in your tools for interacting with reality. Next area is finances. In this sector of your horoscope, throughout 2026, more precisely until June 30, the most generous planet in the solar system, Jupiter, will influence you while in your 8th house. The 8th house does not govern personal finances, assets, or income, but rather shared and joint resources. This influence promises an increase in your standard of living. How might this manifest? The 8th house represents common and shared resources, property, and income. It also represents resources of others that we may access, such as bank resources, loans, mortgages, funds for business development, or educational grants. These resources may come from a partner, parents, investors, or sponsors. It is also the domain of your investments and passive income. Practically, this may manifest as expanding opportunities through an increase in your partner's income, receiving passive income from investments, or rental income from real estate. For some, it could involve obtaining a loan or mortgage for housing, construction, or business development. This may also manifest as personal income through managing others, assets, or resources. For instance, if you are a manager, accountant, or intermediary in transactions. It could be income from a joint business, real estate-related business, or family business. Jupiter's transit through your 8th house, lasting until June 30, may also be a time for substantial reinvestment of your earnings to generate new profits. In general, this period will see an increase in your income, particularly noticeable in the first half of 2026. The next area is personal life. This sector will be influenced by several important astrological factors, indicating not only significant events, but a global and radical reassessment of personal life principles. You may reflect on your journey from your first love, revisiting past events, reassessing and re-experiencing them. You will clearly see your mistakes, illusions, and naivety, perceiving a sequence of scattered events as a unified whole. During this year, your understanding of partnerships and your ideal partner will evolve, forming a more rational and practical vision of the relationships you truly need. This is a period of deep internal work. For those seeking relationships, this is an excellent period. The conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in your 5th house of love, romance, and emotions indicates the potential to meet the person you may have always awaited. It demonstrates internal readiness for a relationship without illusions, with clarity about what you want. Saturn in the 5th house shows that relationships require understanding that they involve effort, responsibility, and mutual accountability. Understanding this allows for the construction of solid and long-lasting partnerships. The conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, occurring on February 20, 2026, in your 5th house, represents an inner need for genuine, sincere relationships. It is crucial to communicate openly about your expectations and emotions. Uranus in this sector represents freedom from past relationships and resentments, symbolizing readiness for new relationships. For some, 2026 will bring reunions, restoring relationships after long separations, where feelings remain despite years apart. For those already in a partnership or marriage, Uranus in your 7th house will prompt reforms in relationships, encouraging renewal and the improvement of the relationship's character. It may also cause abrupt changes in your partner's work or schedule. Uranus requires internal freedom, emphasizing that being together is a matter of free will rather than control or obligation. The next area is children. Saturn and Neptune, entering your 5th house for a long period, will draw attention to matters concerning children. Not all Sagittarians have simple relationships with adult children. If your children are not Sagittarius, they may struggle to understand your decisions. The transit of Saturn and Neptune will highlight the need for effort to improve relationships with adult children. Sincerity and honesty are crucial in these interactions. Many Sagittarians feel guilt over being too focused on work or personal life, while children grow quickly. This transit emphasizes balancing love with rules, care with granting responsibility. For those dreaming of a child, this year may bring long-awaited news. For those with children, reassessment of upbringing may occur, granting them more responsibility. Adult children may move to separate housing or even another city. The next area is work and career. Until August 18, 2026, the 10th house, the sector of status, career, and social position, will be influenced by the southern karmic lunar node, representing accumulated karma. This often indicates the completion of a cycle and the need for transformation. This node has been in this sector since January 2025, and its influence may manifest as a career change, job shift, or business restructuring. For some, this may involve adjusting ambitions for family reasons or relocation. Social status may also change naturally, such as graduation marking a transition from student to professional. Another factor influencing work is Jupiter's transit through the 9th house from June 30, 2026, to mid-July 2027. The ninth house is connected to the final stage relative to your career sector, indicating a desire for change. Jupiter provides expansion and opportunities, often prompting further education, new skills, or qualifications. This may include studying a foreign language or gaining new competencies for career advancement. Many indicators suggest a desire to change work, elevate career status, or shift professional direction. The next area is health. Uranus influences this sector until April 26, 2026. Uranus has been in your health sector since 2018, and you may be accustomed to its effects. Uranus brings surprises and instability, which may manifest as injuries, sudden illnesses, or conditions requiring specialized care. Physical health may be affected by mood, emotions, or stress. Rapid fluctuations in blood pressure, hyperreactivity of vessels, or sudden physical responses may occur. After April 26, 2026, Uranus leaves this sector for decades, bringing more stability to your health and energy. The next area is home and property. For your sign, this karmic task began in January 2025 and continues until August 18, 2026. The task is to find an ideal place under the sun, both physically and emotionally, where you feel well, calm, comfortable, surrounded by beauty, care, love, and harmony. And all of this could have been affecting your life as transformations since January 2025, related either to the place of your residence or to processes connected with your real estate, property. And this could also have manifested through the sphere of family relationships. That is, this could and can manifest through changes in the practical plane, such as, for example, relocation, renovation, solving issues related to your possessions. And for someone, it could manifest through transformations in family relationships, like changes within your family, changes in the composition of your family. For someone, this could be entering into marriage, the birth of children, important events in the affairs of your relatives. This can also manifest through changes in your attitude towards family matters, like understanding your role in the family, the importance of your mission in your own lineage. In general, the tasks of Sagittarius are always beyond, so to speak, the ordinary world. Therefore, as a rule, probably in 95% of cases, when a child is born in a Sagittarius family, it leads to transformations either within the family or as the relocation of the entire family to a new place. Also, representatives of your sign can solve their evolutionary tasks through their own work and profession. For example, when work is related to travel, relocation, tourism, or some kind of transportation. Work can also be connected with real estate, foreign cooperation, or the sphere of education. Therefore, in general, the task of this period for your sign will not seem new to you. Essentially, you are always in search of something beyond the ordinary world, in search of a cozy and comfortable, ideal place under the sun. Now, let's briefly consider the year 2026 by periods, by months. January. On January 3, there is a full moon in the sign of Cancer in your 8th house of the horoscope. A full moon is a completion, a culmination, clarity, and the 8th house is the sphere of shared and joint resources. Therefore, during this period, some financial issue will be resolved, which may not be related to your personal affairs. For example, this could be a family financial matter. Or during this time, you might submit some financial reporting for your work. You can also arrange an insurance policy, a policy for your car, or a medical insurance policy. You may make a decision regarding what you invest your funds in, and generally take control of the financial situation, which is related not only to your personal money, but also to shared family property. During this period, you may also receive a very important and very pleasant gift from someone close to you. And the 8th house, where this full moon occurs, is the house of rebirth, the house of the phoenix. Therefore, starting from January 3, you will feel that something past, the past year, has truly remained in the past. You will feel a moment of reboot, rebirth, and readiness to meet the new year and its new tasks. On January 18, there is a new moon in the sign of Capricorn in your 2nd house of the horoscope. A new moon is the birth of new energy, and the 2nd house is the sector of our personal income, our personal property, and also our self-esteem. This is a time when something new will emerge in this sector. New plans related to work, receiving some sum that you are expecting. Someone might open a card or account in a new bank, and someone might set new and interesting financial goals for themselves. On January 26, an important astrological event occurs. On this day, the planet Neptune moves into the sign of Aries, your fifth astrofield. Neptune is a slow planet, and in 2025, Neptune had already entered this sector of your horoscope for several months, and now it comes here for its main long-term visit. Neptune dissolves our perceptions of something habitual. It gives us new insight, a new evaluation. And for you, this transit of Neptune will be very favorable since it will pass in an aspect of luck relative to your sign. This will bring you an influx of inspiration, an influx of the desire to love, create, and engage in creative activity. This may relate to your personal life, matters connected with your children, and also your creative projects. On January 27, another very important astrological event occurs, which is worth marking on your calendar. On this day, there is an exact conjunction of the planets Mars and Pluto in your third house of the horoscope. Both of these planets symbolize strength, power, might, influence, and their conjunction generates a very strong energy flow. This marks the beginning of a 2-year cycle. Therefore, it is very important during this day to set very clear objectives. If we do not do this ourselves, then this power will have a vector that may later not appeal to us since it is the energy of transforming our reality. Therefore, our task throughout this day is to set the vector of this energy, set the direction, and define a goal, the achievement of which we will pursue for approximately 2 years, since the Mars-Pluto cycle is a 2-year cycle. This conjunction occurs in your third house of the horoscope, the house of practical opportunities to influence the surrounding world. It is essentially the house of tools for our influence. Here, it is favorable for you to set goals related, for example, to creating your own business, development. These can be goals connected with acquiring a car or some other means of transport. These can be goals related to your intellectual development. For example, this could be education or a new job requiring new knowledge and skills. In your personal horoscope, this conjunction may fall into another astrofield. Therefore, it is important to feel to which area your soul leans, through which activity, through which sphere of life you want maximum development over the next 2 years. February is a key month of 2026. It is in February that the plots, the tasks that we will deal with throughout the year begin to develop. On February 1, there is a full moon in the sign of Leo in your 9th house of the horoscope. A full moon is a completion, culmination, clarity. It is results, and the 9th house is the sector of legal and bureaucratic matters. Therefore, someone during this period will resolve an issue related to obtaining some documents or solve a matter connected with formalities and bureaucracy. This is a time when issues related to your education, training, or teaching, if you are a teacher, will be resolved. Also, this is a time when you will be captivated by some new character in your life. This does not necessarily relate to personal life. It could be a person who interests you, and you want to know more about them. It is also a time when a trip may conclude, either a trip or your interaction with something or someone foreign, with some foreign organization or company with which you collaborated or purchased something. Or this may involve a meeting with a person living far away. It is also a time when events related to the friends or relatives of your partner in personal life may occur. On February 14, a very important astrological event occurs. The planet Saturn, our karmic manager, changes signs and moves into your 5th astrofield. Saturn is a slow planet, and in 2025, it had already entered this sector from late May to early September for several months. Now it comes here for its main long-term visit. Saturn in the 5th astrofield of your horoscope will test, so to speak, the strength of your feelings, your choices made through the voice of your heart. Saturn brings order to our feelings, to our emotions. Yes, this is a time when we can be less emotional than in other periods. However, Saturn gives us the opportunity to create something in this sector on a material level, based on our inspiration. For someone, this may manifest as the birth of a child. For someone, as resolving important issues related to your children. For someone, this manifests through personal life, like the realization of new needs in relationships. For someone, this manifests through the sphere of prohibition, self-denial of some hobby or entertainment that, in your opinion, is useless and only a waste of your time and energy. On February 17, a very important day occurs. On this day, the first solar eclipse of 2026 takes place. This eclipse will be the first in many years in a new sign, the sign of Aquarius, in your third house of the horoscope. The first eclipse in a new sector reveals a new theme to us, one that we have not considered for a long time, in which nothing has changed for a long time. For you, this is the theme of the third house of the horoscope, the theme of your informational interaction with other people. These are issues that may be connected with learning, education, with the way your life is organized, with the theme of your habits, your daily actions. This eclipse may also manifest through a desire to change your car, transport, or means of communication. Of course, we will talk in more detail about the essence of this eclipse in a separate video. There may also be important changes related to your circle of communication. In general, a solar eclipse in the third house presents a new task that is interesting to us and gives us new tools for interacting with the surrounding space. On February 20, another very important day occurs, a historical day. On this day, the exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Aries occurs. This signifies the beginning of a new geopolitical era. It also indicates breakthroughs in the possibilities of medicine and in the creation of virtual reality. On March 3, there is a lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo in your 10th house of the horoscope. This eclipse closes the first corridor between eclipses of 2026. That is, the first corridor between eclipses is the period from February 17 to March 3. This is always a very important, fateful period when all decisions we make, all events occurring in our lives, all steps we take in a new direction, have much more lasting and significant consequences than it may seem. The lunar eclipse in the 10th house closes some theme related to your status, your position on the social or career ladder. For someone, this may become a period of entering into marriage. For someone, an important event in work or career. For someone, this time closes some duty, some area of responsibility, thereby giving a sense of relief. For someone, this event may manifest as relocation, sale of some property, or conclusion of a long-term contract, such as a lease agreement. This may also manifest as receiving important documents that essentially define and highlight your status. On March 19, a new moon occurs in the sign of Pisces in your 4th house of the horoscope. A new moon is the birth of new energy, and the 4th house is a sector symbolizing our home, place of residence, and also family relationships. This new moon gives something new, a desire to travel somewhere with the whole family. There may be new events and plots in your family relationships or new interesting processes in the affairs of some close relatives. A new moon in the 4th house may already give a desire to change something in your home space, rearrange something, do general cleaning, or purchase something for your home. April is a revolutionary month. On April 2, there is a full moon in the sign of Libra in your 11th house of the horoscope. A full moon is a completion. The 11th house is the house of our social realization. Therefore, this is a time when some task you were engaged in, not alone but together with a collective of people, may be completed. This is also a period when important events may occur related to your brother or sister and also the sphere of personal life. This is a time that completes some processes related to your education. It is also a time when you may receive important results for yourself, results related to your activity, in which you invested much effort but had not yet seen obvious results, since the 11th house, where this full moon occurs, is the house of results. Events may also occur that will influence your social circle. You may have new interests, and at the same time, you may end your membership in some social group. Throughout the month, in the sign of Aries, in your 5th house of the horoscope, a stellium will occur. A stellium is a cluster of planets in one sector, creating a point of power. And for you, this is very favorable, since the stellium in the 5th house of your horoscope will give an aspect of luck relative to your sign. For you, April is a breakthrough, emotional time. This is a time when you can make very important decisions based on the voice of your heart, even if it contradicts the voice of logic and our mind. This stellium will literally give you a flow of inspiration and desires, a desire to live, to enjoy life, and make decisions that satisfy your heart. On April 17, in the same sector of your horoscope, the 5th house, a new moon occurs. A new moon gives new plots. This may concern your children, new questions, new plots, new plans related to your children. This may manifest through personal life, as a new acquaintance, flirtation, or date. This could be some hobby or activity that appears at this moment. It could be a game, a book. It could be a hobby that will last for many years. On April 26, a very important day occurs. On this day, the planet Uranus, the planet of the future, changes sign and moves for many years into your 7th astro field. Uranus is a revolutionary planet, and it brings everyone experiences they have not yet had. And for you, the next 7 years will be a time of new experiences in the sphere of relationships. That is, you may create relationships in a completely different format than those that once seemed correct. This is a time that may bring into your life people of a completely different format, unusual, interesting individuals. In general, this time will change and reformat the very structure of your relationships with other people, the very model of your relationships. And this can concern both personal life and friendships or business. May is a month of high energy concentration, a month of 2 full moons, and a month when we essentially choose a strategy for ourselves for the next 7 years. On May 1, there is a full moon in the sign of Scorpio in your 12th house of the horoscope. A full moon is a completion, culmination, clarity, and the 12th house is the house of the past, the house of secrets, the house of everything hidden, everything that is not on the surface. This is a time that can complete for you a task you have been engaged in for a long time. This is a time that puts many things in order. And it is also a period when we feel that something has changed in the surrounding world, in circumstances, that some stage, some process in our life, is already completed. This full moon gives a sense of relief, as if we have solved some complex and long-standing issue. Various issues related to secrets and mysteries may be resolved. This may concern personal life, work matters, or savings. There may be a trip to a place where you have already been or even lived for some time. On May 16, there is a new moon in the sign of Taurus in your 6th house of the horoscope. A new moon is new energy, a new impulse, and the 6th house is a sector symbolizing the conditions in which we live and work. This includes conditions at home, domestic tasks. It also includes conditions in which we work, our schedule, the structure of our activities. The new moon gives something new here. And for someone, this may manifest through the sphere of domestic life, as changes in how your daily household life is organized. For someone, this may manifest as changes in work or employment conditions. Even if you do not work in the literal sense of the word, your daily schedule may change. If you work, this period may bring some changes in the team, in payment structure, in conditions of interaction with employer or clients. That is, a new moon in the 6th astro field gives new conditions, new factors in how your daily life is organized. On May 22, a very important day occurs, which is worth marking on your calendar. On this day, the first conjunction of the Sun and Uranus in a new sign, in the 7th astro field of your horoscope, occurs. Essentially, this shows that the choice we make on this day, or during this period, plus or minus a few days from this date, will influence the state of our affairs for the next 7 years. Uranus is the planet of the future, a revolutionary factor in our life. And the conjunction of the Sun and Uranus shows that we choose a direction for ourselves through which we will develop, through which, figuratively speaking, we will move into the future. And if we do not make such decisions ourselves, do not choose the structure of development or direction of development, then the space will make this decision for us. Therefore, it is important to think about which particular activity, which direction of your life you want transformation in, you want to develop, and again, figuratively speaking, move into the future. Of course, we will discuss this conjunction in more detail in a separate video. This is a large and important topic, but it is important to understand that precisely on this day we make decisions, the results of which we will be able to fully feel in 7 years. On May 26, we will experience the influence of a tense aspect, a square, between 2 planets of power, Mars and Pluto. This is one of the most tense aspects of 2026. On this day, and in the days around it, it is better not to plan decisions on important matters or significant events, because everything can unfold much more conflictually and tensely than it might during other periods. This tense aspect will affect your 3rd and 6th astrological houses. Here, there may be some disruptions in habitual processes and usual plans. This is a conflicting and tense day. Therefore, it is not advisable to plan the resolution of tasks that are important to you. On May 31, a full moon occurs in your sign, in the 1st house of your horoscope. This is an important full moon, occurring in our own sign. It indicates that we are currently receiving results or a culmination in processes that are most important and significant for us during this period. It is as if we are at the center of attention, attracting increased interest from the surrounding world and people. This is a good time to express something or take an action that, indeed, draws attention to you. But for you, it is a resolution or a release from a certain problem. This period may bring important events related to your work, career, or significant choices in your life. There may also be an important event associated with travel or with relationships, whether personal, friendly, or business-related. In June, a new moon occurs in the sign of Gemini, in your 7th house. The new moon brings new storylines, and the 7th house represents partnerships. This period will bring something new to your interactions with a partner in personal life, close friends, business partners, or clients. New joint plans and agreements may arise, and new processes may begin to develop in matters involving key partners. The energy of this new moon indicates that your focus will be on partnerships, and this area will be central during this time. June 20 is an important day. On this day, Uranus, the planet of the future, will be in tense aspects with the karmic lunar nodes, affecting your 7th, 4th, and 10th astrological houses. This is a day when we begin to understand how our partnerships influence our family life and work matters. It is a time when we see our mistakes and the path to resolving them. On June 29, a full moon occurs in the sign of Capricorn, in your 2nd house. A full moon represents completion, culmination, and clarity, and the 2nd house is associated with finances, resources, assets, and self-esteem. This full moon closes some financial matter for you. Some will receive a payment that has been long awaited. Others may receive a new bank card or resolve an issue related to their budget, such as completing payments on a loan, mortgage, or other financial obligation. Overall, this period brings clarity regarding the level of income you can expect in the coming months. On June 30, Jupiter, the most generous planet of the solar system, changes signs and enters the sign of Leo, in your 9th astrological house. This is a very favorable Jupiter transit for your sign. It will last until mid-July 2027, slightly over a year. Jupiter will be in a lucky aspect relative to your sign, bringing many desires, a strong interest in personal development, learning new things, traveling, and advancing in work, career, or education. Overall, this is a period that opens many new paths for you, a favorable stage that will give you an impulse for growth. More details on this long Jupiter transit will be discussed in a separate video. In July, a new moon occurs in the sign of Cancer in your 8th house. The new moon represents the birth of new energy and new storylines connected to the 8th house, which symbolizes shared finances, joint resources, and mutual settlements with other people, organizations, and the state. During a new moon in the 8th house, a matter related to a large purchase or significant payment may be resolved. It could also be related to your partner's income in personal life. Essentially, any issue concerning the structure of your budget, especially shared or joint resources, may be highlighted. You may reissue a card or account in a bank or resolve financial agreements with other people or organizations. Some may issue or renew an insurance policy related to a car, housing, or medical insurance. Issues related to intrafamily financial interactions, taxes, alimony, or other obligations may also be addressed during this period. On July 29, a full moon occurs in Aquarius, in your 3rd house. A full moon represents completion, culmination, and clarity. The 3rd house is associated with short trips and communication. This full moon indicates that a certain path, which is no longer relevant to you or a task you have already completed, is coming to an end. This often signifies that a project or activity you were engaged in has reached its conclusion, either due to achieving results or because the process is no longer relevant. A full moon in the third house may also result in the purchase of a technical or electronic item. It may mark the end of a trip or yield results related to documents or education. There may also be decisions concerning your own business. In August, a solar eclipse occurs in Leo, in your ninth house. This is the first solar eclipse in this sign and sector of your chart in many years. A solar eclipse in a new sign brings a sense of awakening. For you, this eclipse occurs in a favorable aspect, giving a sense of awakening and rediscovery of yourself. It provides the feeling, I can do this, life can be completely different. A solar eclipse in the ninth house may bring a desire and opportunity for travel. There may be notable events connected to your relatives and resolution of complex bureaucratic matters. This eclipse gives an important feeling of empowerment and that things are unfolding as you wish, beneficial and profitable for you. The energy of this eclipse may also bring significant and positive events related to your adult child, especially regarding their personal life, and for some, it may signify the birth of a grandchild. The eclipse may also initiate cooperation with new people or organizations located far away, or with foreign trade platforms or entities operating in other cities, as the ninth house symbolizes distant matters. Important issues can be resolved remotely during this period. More details on each eclipse will be discussed in a separate video. On August 18, the axis of karmic lunar nodes changes signs, leaving the axis of your 4th and 10th houses and moving to the axis of the 3rd and 9th houses. This is a favorable transition of karmic lunar nodes for you. Since January 2025, the northern karmic lunar node has been in your 4th house, presenting significant and heavy tasks. The axis in the 3rd and 9th houses opens new paths, giving the sense that many ways are available, and all that is required is your desire, with realization occurring in the most favorable way. More details on this karmic node's transit, which will last for 1.5 years, will be covered separately. But for you, this is a very favorable transit, providing opportunities for development, creation of new daily habits, and establishment of new rules in your life. On August 28, a full moon and lunar eclipse occur in your 4th house in Pisces. This lunar eclipse closes a long-standing matter or theme related either to your place of residence, real estate, property, or intrafamily matters. It may bring events related to relocation or issues concerning relatives. Intrafamily processes and transformations may take place. The eclipse does not bring unexpected or unusual events, but gives results from ongoing processes, particularly related to residence, property, and family relationships. In September, a new moon occurs in Virgo in your 10th house. The new moon represents the birth of new energy, and the 10th house relates to status, social position, career, and reputation. This new moon brings a new role, responsibility, or sphere of duty. For some, this may manifest as career changes, a new position, authority, or changes in work relationships. Your relations with superiors may change, or you may visit government offices for documents, permits, or reporting. This new moon may also involve receiving important documents that define or highlight your status. On September 26, a full moon occurs in Aries in your 5th house. The full moon represents completion, clarity, and the 5th house is associated with joy, celebration, children, romance, emotions, and creative projects. This full moon brings results, such as important events related to your children. For some, it may signify the birth of a child, a major purchase for a child, or the completion of a creative project. It also provides clarity regarding your feelings toward a person. October is a challenging month, beginning with an exact opposition aspect, a tense aspect between Mars and Pluto. This aspect affects your 3rd and 9th houses, showing conflict and fatigue from constant struggle. On this day, and the surrounding days, it is better not to plan important matters, negotiations, events, or trips due to possible disruptions and broken agreements. On the same day, Venus, representing earthly joys and pleasures, turns retrograde until November 14. Venus retrograde affects your 11th and 12th houses. This period allows revisiting emotional issues from the past, striving to achieve results that may not have been fully attained. Questions related to complex interactions with others may arise, especially regarding relationships you cannot easily end. This period gives the opportunity to clarify relationships, honestly discuss concerns, and restore connections from the past. Between October 3 and November 14, it is advisable to avoid purchases of luxury items, as retrograde Venus may lead to disappointment. Similarly, new relationships begun during this period may later bring disillusionment. On October 10, a new moon occurs in Libra in your 11th house. The new moon represents the birth of new energy, and the 11th house reflects your vision for the future. New plans may appear, including the revival of old plans. You may rejoin groups, resume sports, or collaborate with previous clients or employers. This period emphasizes demanding fulfillment of obligations from others and constructive dialogue to resolve accumulated issues. Important events may also relate to siblings. On October 26, a full moon occurs in Taurus in your 6th house. A full moon represents completion, culmination, and clarity. The 6th house reflects the conditions in which you live and work, your schedule, rhythm, and lifestyle. This full moon brings completion, results, and closure. It may involve ending work in an organization, concluding collaboration with a person or client, or fulfilling obligations, both domestic and professional. It may also involve concluding medical treatments. The energy of the full moon in the 6th house brings the feeling that your efforts were not in vain, that struggles and endeavors have yielded necessary results. In November, a new moon occurs in Scorpio in your 12th house. The new moon represents new energy, and the 12th house relates to secrets and the past. Matters thought resolved may resurface, including debts, obligations, or issues of resentment and suspicion towards someone. This new moon gives the energy to finalize past matters and release burdens. On November 16, a significant event occurs: the exact conjunction of the southern karmic lunar node and Jupiter. This rare event signifies the fruition of karma that has matured and accumulated. Jupiter symbolizes expansion, while the southern karmic node symbolizes contraction and the accumulated karma. This day brings an important event, not unexpected or unusual, but long-awaited and ready for completion. For your sign, it may involve the 9th house, covering distant matters, foreign affairs, work, important documents, bureaucratic resolutions, education, teaching, or interactions with friends and relatives of your partner. It may also relate to the personal life of your adult child. In any case, this date marks an important turning point, providing closure, realization, and results in ongoing processes. On November 24, a full moon occurs in the sign of Gemini in your 7th house of the horoscope. A full moon represents completion, culmination, and clarity, and the 7th house is the sector of partnerships. On this day, there will be an event related to your partnerships, with a partner in your personal life, with close friends, or with business associates. This energy provides the conclusion of a situation or process that you have been engaged in jointly with others. There may be clarity regarding the work of your partner in personal life or regarding certain plans. During this time, you may complete work with a client or finish work under a contract with your employer. In other words, in some way or another, there will be a resolution of a situation or process connected to relationships. At the same time, you may notice that for a long time you have been overlooking certain qualities of one of your partners, simply trying not to notice what this person is truly like. This may relate to someone within your work circle or even a friend. In December, on the 9th, an important event for your sign takes place. On this day, a new moon occurs in your sign, in the 1st house of your horoscope. A new moon in your own sign is like our personal new year. It is a time that provides us with energy for the entire year ahead. Therefore, on this day, regardless of the exact day of your birth, it is important to find time to reflect on your plans for the year ahead. Think about what you want for yourself, how you want to implement your abilities, how you want to organize your life. This day belongs specifically to you. Therefore, throughout this day, it is advisable to be selfish in the positive sense of the word. A new moon in your own sign gives a feeling of rebooting, a sense that we have changed, even if it is not externally noticeable. This is a period of resetting and aligning oneself for the year ahead. During this day, it is worth taking a sheet of paper and a pen to write down your plans for the coming year. On December 24, a full moon occurs in the sign of Cancer in your 8th house of the horoscope. A full moon represents completion, culmination, and clarity, and the 8th house is associated with shared and joint finances and resources. Therefore, on this day, a financial matter will be resolved, a matter that concerns not only you personally, but is a shared issue. For example, a family financial matter or an issue involving interaction with clients or an employer. This period will bring resolutions related to the budget, particularly your joint or shared budget. You may pay off a loan or make necessary payments. In other words, this day will give you the feeling that you have settled a debt, whether material or immaterial. Of course, each month of 2026 and every important astrological event will be discussed separately in detail. This is to ensure the best possible use of favorable astrological influences in your endeavors and to avoid mistakes and losses during periods when astrological influences are conflictual and tense. Overall, 2026 for your sign is a time when several influential planets move out of tense aspects relative to your sign and occupy far more favorable positions. Therefore, you may feel that yes, there are tasks and plans, but nevertheless, everything is resolved more easily and optimistically. You will have the sense that a dark or heavy period has ended, and now everything will be different. Especially notable is the transition of Jupiter, the ruler of your sign, from the emotional and sensitive sign of Cancer to the bright and brilliant sign of Leo. You will feel this vividly. You will experience it as a moment of stepping onto a stage, as the spotlight turning on. You will feel in your element, as if after a period of reflection, regrets, perhaps even self-pity, you are now re-engaging with the bright and fiery rhythm of life, full of desires, curiosity, and the will to strive. Indeed, 2026 will give you a very important feeling, the feeling of your own right, to have power in your own reality. It is a year that reaffirms your ability to direct your life, to claim your space, and to pursue your intentions with confidence. This energy is about empowerment, awareness, and the acknowledgement of your capabilities and potential in the world around you.